Bengali nuances, though you are Bengali yourself, but did you lean on anyone or anything to portray Mrs. Chatterjee? Because in many ways she's very different from you as well. In terms of her background, in terms of her own demeanor, she's not Rani Mukerji. She is Mrs. Chatterjee, and that's what you became. When you see the film, I didn't see Rani Mukerji in one frame. I just saw Mrs. Chatterjee. So these two, again, I reiterate, the first part was like, did I meet Sagarika? Did you meet Sagarika a lot? And secondly, how did you infuse the Bengali nuances into your character?
So I have not yet met Sagarika.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
I have not yet met Sagarika.
You've never met Sagarika?
No, I have never met Sagarika.
This is a shock to me, literally.
Yeah, so I've never
met never
Sagarika.
Spoken to her?
No. Something that I thought would be my interpretation of Mrs. Chatterjee's character. I didn't want too much of a baggage because she's very much there. So I didn't want people to find similarities or say that this is similar, that is similar. For me, the story of Mrs. Chatterjee was about Mrs. Chatterjee, and I had to play it not knowing that this has actually happened. I had to play it cinematically for this film. I knew the emotions she went through because I sat with Ashima, I think 1 million times over the script, and I went through it with her and what her emotions were, in terms of what Sagarika's emotions were. Ashima had a lot of tapes that she had recorded of Sagarika chatting with her, so I went through a lot of those tapes where I started to understand and I grabbed what her emotions are, because that was what was very important for me for the character, that I need to understand her emotional graph because of what she's actually been through. Because it was a struggle, it was frustration, it was anger, it was the loneliness, it was the mother's love, it was so many things. So I wanted to know what headspace was Sagarika in during that period and what is she today? And what has this journey of this fight made Sagarika into today? So I went through that. But when it actually came to performing and becoming the character, the only person that came to my mind was my mom. And I have no qualms to say it, that I have just taken my mother and put her into Mrs. Chatterjee. Because my mom is raised...
I saw that. That's why
You
I
saw
asked
that?
you. I saw that. I was like, this is Krishna auntie, like she's portraying her mother.
So actually for me, someone who is so connected to her roots, there is nobody else that I know more than my mother. My mother got married to my dad 50 years ago and she came to Bombay. She's born and brought up in Calcutta. She got married when she was 21. But she is such a Bengali in her, the way she is as a person, the way she eats, the way she talks. Even when after 50 years of being in Bombay, when she speaks in Hindi, she sounds like a Bengali. When she speaks in English, she sounds like a Bengali. So I think if you're once a Bengali in West Bengal, born and brought up in West Bengal, you'll always be that. And whenever you speak to anybody from Calcutta, West Bengal, you'll see them having a flair of that Bengali accent, which never leaves them. And I think that is spectacular for me because my mom, living in Bombay, has not been able to leave her roots away. She's still very connected to her roots. And whatever impression I had of my mom growing up, the way she is, Bengali tigress, the way she has fed us with her hands, the way she used to talk to us, the way she has given us love. I think it was, when I read the character of Mrs. Chatterjee, for me it was all along like my mother. Like I was imagining my mother, what would happen if somebody would have taken Raja and me away from her. And I could imagine my mom going completely nuts.
It takes